Enter the Matrix was one of those games, guys, that released, it feels like so long ago. And I really felt that this was a special title that I would obviously love to see a return to at some point or another, especially with The Matrix, as far as a reboot coming out, as far as what we think, it's going to be a reboot from the standpoint of the movies. And with that, guys, I wanted to talk about Enter the Matrix 2, the game that we never got, that I was hoping that we would get. And I think that, typically speaking, guys, you can probably, expect that the Matrix from, just the first movie all the way to now, this has been one of those movies that has been talked about. It's one of the cult classics at this point in time. And I know a lot of people didn't like The Matrix Reloaded and The Matrix Revolutions. I actually liked The Matrix Reloaded. I didn't like a lot of the CGI used. I did not like The Matrix Revolutions. And The Matrix obviously stays as the best in the trilogy. Now, what we got to look at here is, how, everything kind of went here with Enter the Matrix when this released. So you got to look at the timetable, who kind of created it. And then on top of that, you got to look at, why didn't we get an Enter the Matrix 2 and where is it at this point in time? You got to have to kind of look at the past. Usually a couple of things dictate why or why not a franchise continues in one way, shape, or form. And number one is usually the sales of a game. And number two is the reception that, what people think overall about the title. So with that, guys, Enter the Matrix. This game, guys, released in North America May 14th of 2003, guys. 2003. Now, Enter the Matrix is an action-adventure video game. This is coming to us from Wikipedia, guys. Developed by Shiny Entertainment and published by Infogrames. Released under the Atari brand name. It was the first game based on the Matrix series of films. Its story is concurrent with that of The Matrix Reloaded and features over an hour of original footage directed by the Wachowskis and starring the cast of the film trilogy produced for the game. So the Wachowskis, guys, are obviously the two who created The Matrix as a whole. They directed all three of the movies. They also did this one. They directed the Enter the Matrix. While it was not critically well received, it sold 1 million copies in its first 18 days of release, 2.5 million over the first 6 weeks, and ultimately 5 million copies. The success led to the game being re-released for multiple consoles budget brands, with the PC version getting a DVD-ROM version. Obviously, guys, released in May of 2003, the same month as The Matrix Reloaded, Enter the Matrix was simultaneously produced with The Matrix Reloaded and The Matrix Revolutions, and released for the GameCube, Microsoft Windows, PlayStation 2, and Xbox. I played it on Xbox, guys, and I gotta tell you, I loved this game. This game was great, man. I mean, it was just a lot of fun. It was just kind of one of those games where you enjoyed, like, the story, obviously, but it was just so cool, like, going into that slow-mo and running up walls and doing, using your akimbo weapons and such. I mean, it was just so cool being able to, like, go and dive into that world. And at the time, guys, the graphics were pretty good. The characters, I liked the characters. It was really neat. And I think that, yes, it came out around the exact same time as the Matrix Reloaded, so they were kind of cross-marketing. But think of it this way, guys. We haven't had a Matrix movie in quite some time. We're getting The Matrix. It is returning. Could we get the Enter the Matrix 2 with that release of the upcoming next Matrix movie? That's something that we've got to kind of think about here, because there's a possibility, I think, that we could get Enter the Matrix 2 that comes out around the same time that the next Matrix reboot comes out from the Wachowskis. It should be interesting, guys. But like I said, it certainly was not the money that decided what the fate of Enter the Matrix was, because All in all, guys, by February 2004, the global sales of Enter the Matrix across all systems had surpassed 4 million units, according to Atari. By July 2006, the PlayStation 2 version of Enter the Matrix had sold 1.2 million copies and earned $58 million in the United States. Next Generation ranked it as the 39th highest-selling game launch for the PlayStation 2, Xbox, or GameCube between January 2000 and July 2006 in that country. Combined sales of Enter the Matrix console releases reached 1.9 million units in the United States by July 2006. Worldwide, the game sold 5 million units. So let's put this in perspective, guys. 5 million units it sold, okay, worldwide. And remember the time that this came out, okay? I mean, we're talking, you're going way back to 2003. So it sold very well. But here's that second part that I was talking about, was the reception. A lot of times the reception, guys, also dictates it. At the end of the day, guys, it's all about money. So usually that will dictate things. But maybe they just didn't have a vision for Enter the Matrix 2 or another Matrix game. Who knows? But if we look at the reception overall, guys, it was mixed or average at best. And I thought that it was kind of, unfortunate, because I thought it was pretty good. I mean, I thought that it wasn't the greatest game ever made, in my opinion, but it was very fun for what it was. And I don't know. I thought it was good. I mean, I liked the game, and now it's been years since I played it, but, kind of putting myself back then, from a graphics perspective, all the different gameplay mechanics that were in the game, I enjoyed it, but that's not so much what, Eurogamer or Game Informer gave an 8.5 out of 10, which was, that's pretty good. But on the flip side of that, you've got, Game Rankings giving a 69%, Metacritic 65 or a 62, depending on which console you're looking at. You look at Entertainment Weekly, they gave it a B. That's pretty good. IGN 7.2 out of 10. That's pretty good. I mean, that's not bad. Now, they're average, right? Mixed and averaged. Now, EGM gave it a 4.33 out of 10. Not so good. Eurogamer 4 out of 10. That's not very good either. So, like we were saying, mixed reviews. Now, I would say that they're higher rather than lower, in my opinion, especially when you're looking at like Game Informer, even IGN. You look at Entertainment Weekly. It's a little bit above average, in my opinion. And so when I look at that, that may have very well have been the reason why they decided not to make another one. It's unfortunate. There was a lot of talk, though, that Enter the Matrix actually drew a lot of attention away from The Matrix Reloaded, which The Matrix Reloaded really, that was a high-grossing movie for the Wachowskis, and obviously it got a lot of backlash, though, because people did not like it nearly as much as the first Matrix, and who knows what's going to happen with this upcoming Matrix movie. I would say it's probably, just knowing what we know at this point in time about the trilogy, the Matrix reboot that comes out, it's probably not going to be as iconic as the first Matrix movie, but I would say that there's definitely, with the technology we have now, could be really special. Enter the Matrix 2 could be really special at this point in time with the added graphics, new gameplay, not new, but, updated gameplay, updated mechanics, other characters that you can play as, more ways you can kind of connect with these different characters. Imagine semi-open world setting, which would be really cool to be able to explore a little bit of this world. I don't know. I'm of the feeling that I would love to see a continuation of Enter the Matrix, guys, but I think when you ask where is it, I think that there's a possibility that we could get an Enter the Matrix 2 when the Matrix reboot comes out from the Wachowskis. There's a possibility. I'm not going to say that it's definitely going to happen, guys, but I would say that if we're going to get a second Enter the Matrix, or if it's called just The Matrix, if we get something like that, it would probably come out when this reboot comes out. And so that's going to be really interesting, guys. But let me know, what do you guys think happened to Enter the Matrix, and where is Enter the Matrix 2 at this point? Do you think it's something that could happen in the foreseeable future, or do you think there's no way? Let me know in the comment section down below. And for more Enter the Matrix 2 content and videos, stay here with Zero TV.